report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head and D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. I'm Craig Fissinger. That's Ken Francis. Back in our sound room, of course, we have TK and Heavy D. We're going to be joining those guys here in just a few moments. And Ken, you know, we're wrapping up the regular season, and girls and boys high school basketball. Girls tournament play begins this weekend. Boys tournament play starts in a little over a week, I think. And hard to believe we're here already, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Craig. You know, the season goes by so fast, especially when you're having a lot of fun. There have been a lot of successful teams in the area this year, Craig. That always makes it more fun. And, of course, here on Fish Report Live, we're having fun like always. So season flies by before you know it, Craig. It's going to be springtime, and but we don't want to push off the basketball season yet. The best time of the season is coming right now. Tournament time, Craig, and really looking forward to the boys and girls postseason tournament. Going to be a lot of great games, and I'm sure there's going to be some surprises along the way.
Yeah, one of the best teams in the area, of course, this all season has been the Minster Wildcats, and we'll be talking to their head coach tonight.
Yes, we will, Craig. Really looking forward to talking to the head coach of the Lady Minster Wildcats, Nann Stechschulte. Coach Stechschulte, Craig, she's been there 27 years at Minster. She owns 2 state championships, 1998 and 2004. She's been very successful, and again this year, Craig, expecting a great postseason run from the Lady Wildcats.
Yeah, can't wait to get to that. Before we do, though, speaking of those Lady Wildcats, they're part of tonight's poll question, aren't they?
Yes, they are, Craig, and we're talking MAC basketball in general. Of which MAC program has been the biggest positive surprise this season? All 4 of these teams have had great seasons, Craig. Which one has been the most biggest surprise? Is it the Minster girls, the New Bremen girls, the Versailles boys, or the St. Henry boys? Which of those teams have been the biggest positive surprise?
All right, I think we've talked about quite a few of those teams so far this season. And if you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page, you can scroll down, answer the poll question, and check the results out. If you're watching us on NK Telco or Game Face Ohio, we will have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, well, let's get things started with something we like to call Five for Fighting, where basically I pick 5 subjects between you, I, and the Sound Room guys. We fight for our opinions on those subjects, and let's check out what tonight's topics are. There we go. We've got sub 4 minutes, I guess. Cleveland Rocks, Wild Finish, Seed Surprise, and Looking Back. And we'll get started, guys, with the sub 4 minutes. And there was a guy a long time ago by the name of Roger Bannister. He was the first guy to, I guess, run a sub 4 minute mile. That was all the way back in 1954. The most recent guy to do it is a former Fish Report Live guest and a Tri-Village alum, Clayton Murphy. Actually ran a 357.11 this past weekend at the Akron Invitational. And I want to know, how does that rate on your impressive meter?
Well, Craig, I'm going to tell you what. Anybody that can go sub 4 in a mile is phenomenally fast. That is ranks very high on my impressive meter. And, I know there's a lot of people do it now from the professional level. First done, like you said, first time ever in the world done in 1954. Now it's been done multiple times, including most recently by Clayton Murphy. Very impressive, Clayton. Great job, and congratulations.
Yep. Hats off to Clayton. I ran in junior high. I ran a sub 17 second 100 meter dash. Ran it one time.
That's not bad either. Probably not something we talk about on the show, but not bad. TK, you're a runner. How does a sub 4 sound to you?
Oh, very impressive. I don't think I've done a sub 4 anything. So it's great. Even you watch runners all the time, and you see a lot of good ones, but to get to sub 4 is phenomenal. Yeah, it happens more than once, but it's still quite an accomplishment to do something like that.
All right, well, listen, I've actually got a list here of guys that have run sub 4 so far this year, and there's actually been 9 guys right now to go under 4 minutes this year, Clayton being one of those guys. But of all 9 of those guys, Clayton has the fastest time right now with that 3:57.11. So he's the fastest guy in the U.S. right now in the mile. And I mean, who can say that? Who can say they're the best at anything? I mean, if you take another individual sport, let's say, for instance, golf. I mean, who can say they're the best golfer right now? Jordan Spieth? Clayton Murphy is the Jordan Spieth of the mile right now. He's the best. He's the best.
Fish Report guest.
That's right. He's the best.
He deserves his accolades. Fantastic runner.
Let's move ahead, guys, to the next subject, and that is Cleveland Rocks. And of course, Versailles alum Craig Stammen made big news this week, signing with the Cleveland Indians. I guess he's going to test the loyalty of the Cincinnati Reds fans around here. And actually, interesting note on that, a local guy actually broke the news nationally, and that is our friend Kyler Ludlow with the website HometownSportsHeroes.net. He broke the news on Twitter, and it was picked up nationally. So congrats to Kyler for breaking that news. But anyway, Craig signing with the Indians. I want to know, what are your thoughts on the signing there?
Well, I think it's great, Craig, for local baseball especially, and great for Craig. It's great that he's getting another opportunity. He's been with the Nationals for a long time, and it's going to be a great fit up in Cleveland. And I'm sure there's a lot of locals looking forward to making the 3.5-hour trip up to the lake. And if nothing else, Craig, the Indians got a nice team up there, and I'm sure the adult beverages consumption will go up quite a bit at the stadium over there.
Does the fact that he changed from the National League to the American League, does that change the pronunciation of his last name? Stammen to Stammen, Stammen to Stammen?
I think if I remember right, it depends on what side of 127 you grow up on.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right on that. I've been a lifelong Browns fan, so I've dealt with the misery up there in Cleveland for my entire life, and I know the Browns aren't looking too sharp right now. So I think it's going to be between Craig Stammen and LeBron James to bring that city their first championship. Since I think I want to go back to maybe 1964, something like that, with the last time the Browns won a championship. So LeBron, Craig Stammen, we'll see who can get it first.
Sounds great.
All right, well, let's move ahead to our next subject, and that is Wild Finish. And, it was a little over a week ago when the Fort Laramie girls basketball team was 1 game behind Anna in the league standings. Here we are, like I said, a little over a week later, and Fort Laramie actually finished top of the SCAL. Anna is in second place there. Guys, I want to know, what's more impressive, Laramie winning the county or Anna, maybe they're let down there at the end?
Well, Craig, it doesn't surprise me that Coach Siegel had her Lady Redskins primed and playing extremely great basketball right now. But it does surprise me that the Anna Rockets lost to Jackson Center. Taking nothing away from the Lady Tigers. They got a good basketball team, and they just flat out outplayed Anna in that game. But for Fort Laramie to end up 11-1 in the league, no big surprise there to me at all. TK?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. The Anna looked like the team to beat all year long, taking care of business, seemingly without too much worry, and then all of a sudden at the end to go like they did and lose 2 important games, especially going in not only for the league but going into the tournament. Yeah. So they got to turn around. I think they will. I think they'll have a good tournament run. But yes, very surprising to see those last 2 games like that for the Rockets.
Yeah, probably not the momentum they wanted to head into tournament with. And, I think we said it on the show maybe in the last couple of weeks, but other than Fort Laramie and Anna, it's been a long time, I think going back to 2002, since somebody else won a county championship other than those 2 schools. So I guess it must have just been Laramie's turn this year.
Yep.
All right, well, our next subject is Seed Surprise, and as everyone probably well knows by now, last Friday was the big game between the Russia boys and Jackson Center. Russia won that game. They tied for the top of the SCAL. Both had identical records after that game, 17-3, 9-2 in the county. Heading into Sunday's tournament draw, and the Jackson Center Tigers ended up with a number 1 seed after Russia had just beat them on Friday night. Like I said, going into the tournament draw with identical records. Guys, I got to know, what happened? Should Russia fans be outraged? And is there perhaps maybe a bias against Russia from area coaches?
Well, I don't think so, Craig. I think a lot of the voting takes place prior to that game was even played. I know the coaches have several days to cast their votes. The votes have to be in by noon on Saturday. Now, if I'm voting, I wait till after those games are done on Friday night, and I vote Russia the number 1 seed because they just beat Jackson Center. They also have the best non-league win probably of anybody in the whole league, and that's the Raiders' win over Versailles. So, when you look at the two resumes, Russia probably did deserve the number 1 seed, but the fact that they got number 2, Craig, did not surprise me a lot because a lot of the coaches, especially the non-Shelby County League coaches, I feel they cast their votes prior to those games on Friday night.
Is that fair, guys? Is that fair to cast your vote before Friday night? A big game like that, deciding the number 1, the number 2 seed. Is that fair to vote before that game?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's fair or not, but hopefully they meet somewhere down the tournament trail and they can figure out who takes 2 out of 3 on that. Let that decide the ratings.
Yeah, I don't know if it's you can say fair or not, but like Ken said, maybe a lot of them voted early. Going into it, they already had their minds made up based on the way the season had rolled out, and regardless of what happened, you could even say maybe it's a coin flip. Home and home wins, equal records going into the tournament, toss a coin, and one lands on 1, one lands on 2. So they both got, I think, about the same draw in the end in the tournament. They got some games they got to win to get on to Dayton and into Kettering.
It was about like Hillary and Bernie out in Iowa. So coin flip decided it.
Well, when you're looking at that number 1 or 2 seed, you're obviously looking down the tournament trail a little bit and looking past sectionals. And bottom line, it's probably going to end up if Jackson Center can get out of the sectional, it's probably going to end up Russia playing a team like Southeastern, who's got a very impressive record right now. I think 19-2 the last I checked. And Jackson Center probably playing a district game against a Cincinnati school, which I haven't even looked at that, but I'm going to imagine a Country Day or somebody like that is typically in that position. So going to be a very tough district game for Russia if they can get out of the sectional.
Absolutely, it will be.
All right, and the last subject, guys, is looking back. And, as we said at the top of the show, it seems like just yesterday we were talking about the start of the season. I know coming in there was a lot of concerns, a lot of questions we had about how this regular season was going to pan out. Looking back, now that it's almost over, girls or boys, any thoughts on the regular season?
Well, Craig, my biggest memory and on the regular season has to be hats off to Coach Andy Timmerman and the Russia freshman boys, Craig. They wrapped up the season Monday night with winning the Jackson Center postseason tournament, Craig. They finished 19-0, played a tough schedule, Craig, and they won a lot of close games. But you know what? The coach got them playing tough. He got them playing hard. And hats off to Coach Timmerman and his Russia freshman team. 19-0, perfect season.
So you're saying there's more in the pipeline for the Russia Raiders after this season?
Absolutely.
Guys, any memories from the regular season at all?
I have a couple I have to kind of look back on. One bit of a surprise, Fairlawn, I thought they'd do a little bit better than they did. 13-7 overall is a decent record, nothing to be sad about, but with some of the talent they had, I thought they'd be better. Lost a couple squeakers, I think 3 or maybe 4 games within 3 points that they end up losing. So team to watch next year is the Fairlawn Jets. They're going to come back with a lot of talent, a lot of experience out of this year, and I think they're the team to watch coming back next year. And just a little bit, the Russia girls team, a school that all of a sudden didn't have a reserve team and didn't have a freshman team. People didn't think much of them, I don't think, and they came back and had quite a good season for what they had. And watched them several times, and they're an impressive group to watch. Very, very good. A lot of athleticism there, and a lot of hustle, and a team that's going to grow and become even better, I think, because it's a very young team.
Yeah, speaking of Russia girls, I'm looking back to mid-November when we took our 5th grade girls over to Minster, and Coach Michael McClurg and the Lady Wildcats beat us by 2. And hopefully we can set up a rematch this Saturday over at Fort Laramie Junior High, where we finish up the season with the 5th grade tournament on Saturday and 6th grade tournament on Sunday over in Fort Laramie. So if you're looking for some good ball to watch this weekend in the afternoon, that's where you should be.
That's right. You got the Hot Shot League tournament going on right now.
Yep.
Well, guys, I guess going into this season, I know we talked a lot about the drop-off in talent from last year compared to this year, and that was a big question for me going into this year. Who are the best teams going to be? Last year we had Tri-Village and we had Jackson Center, we had Russia, we had Marion Local in that regional tournament, a lot of local teams, and as we get to the tournament here and looking at who could possibly advance, I think it could be the same teams. I think it could be Tri-Village. I think it could be Jackson Center again. I think Russia could get there again. And Marion Local's moved up to Division III, so I'm gonna substitute in there St. Henry possibly instead of Marion Local. I know Lima Perry's got a very good team up there in the Northwest, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. I think 3 of those 4 same schools we could see back in that regional tournament again. So, I guess I got a little worked up, maybe about nothing, because it looks like the same schools that were good last year are still good. Different players, but still good. Mm-hmm. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for our 5 for Fighting. If you agree or disagree with something we had to say, you can let us know about it there. You see our Twitter handle at the top of the monitor. We would love to hear from you. And that's going to do it for the first half of our show. We're going to take a short break, but stay right there, because when we come back, we're going to talk some MAC girls basketball, including that big interview with Coach Stechschulte.
Open stage at the leaving van. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. Teacher, cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, looking for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the second half of Fish Report Live. And, Ken, it's been a little while since we talked about the MAC girls basketball standings. They're getting ready to wrap up their regular season. Not quite done yet, but let's take a look at the MAC standings and see where we're at.
Craig, the Minster Lady Wildcats ranked number 6 in Ohio right now in Division 4. They won the league, Craig. They're sitting at 9-0 in the conference, 18-4 overall. Fort Recovery, they're ranked up there in Division 3 and finished in New Bremen, like I said before, one of the surprise teams this year, I think. Both finished a couple games back. But Minster girls, Craig, made a great run in the MAC this year, and they, of course, were led by their head coach, Mrs. Nann Stechschulte.
Yeah, actually, Minster ended their regular season on Tuesday night with a game at Division II Wapak. Probably not the way they wanted to end things. Took a loss there, 55-48, but nonetheless finished, like you said, the regular season with an 18-4 record, 9-0 in the MAC, and a team that I think kind of seems like they fly under the radar a little bit. They don't have that one big superstar on the team yet. Again, they're 18-4, 9-0 in the MAC, first outright MAC championship for them, and I think the last 5 years. And of course, one big reason for that is their head coach, Nann Stechschulte. We're happy to have her live on the phone right now. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, well, listen, we just mentioned you had your final regular season game on Tuesday night over there at Division II Wapak, and probably not the perfect ending to your season, but, Coach, what do you take from that game?
Well, I don't like to lose, but I left that game not feeling terrible. There was nothing that we did really bad in that game, and it's not like we had a defensive breakdown. It's not like we shot horrible. I just think Wapak's a very good team in themselves. They're 17-4 right now, and play St. Mary's tomorrow for the last game. So I just feel like they made a couple more plays. They shot 6 for 11 from 3-point land, and I think 81% from the free throw line when we had to foul them at the end. and that was really the end. That it was just a fun game, actually.
All right. Well, I'd like to go back to the start of the regular season for just a moment, Coach. And, I read, I think, at the beginning of this year where you graduated something like 8 seniors from last year. Here we are today. Again, you're 18-4 overall, 9-0 in the MAC. I just mentioned you won your first outright MAC title in I think 5 years. And you've had some really good teams in the last 5 years. Did you envision being where you're at today back at the beginning of the season?
Well, we did actually graduate 7 seniors. And that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
But when we traveled to Lima Bath this summer, and we scrimmaged Lima Bath and Upper Scioto Valley, and I saw the way the kids worked together, and the leadership that I saw on the court. I saw the pieces there. Our motto this year is, it's not about the pieces; it's how they work together. And I saw the pieces, and if that makes sense, we have some height, we have some size inside, we have kids that can penetrate, some kids that can score, enough ball handling, and so I knew that, if they were willing to work hard and work together, that hopefully we could put it all together when we needed to. And we don't have a cake schedule by any means. If anybody looks at our schedule, our out-of-league schedule. Our league schedule is hard enough, but our out-of-league schedule is incredible. And I told them last night when we were finished, I said, I envisioned that we would lose 6 games. And so, they exceeded my expectations. And I think we proved, we can play with just about anybody in the state. We just have to get it together at the right time and get hot at the right time.
Coach, hi, this is Ken Francis. First of all, congratulations on a great regular season. Like you said, you're sitting at 18-4, but one statistic that really stands out to me is when I look at your overall team, you have no players averaging in double figures. Explain how this has played into the chemistry of your team and why, how you can do that with such a great record and no big star leadership.
Well, I think that's pretty much the way we try to be every year. If you just have one person that does most of the scoring, you're going to be easy to defend and easy to stop. And I think there's some games where, as you said, Rosie does lead us in scoring, but I think it's 10.2 or something like that. She might have 18 like she did last night. Courtney Fringer had 21 against Coldwater. One game, Leanne Hilsman had 16. I could go down and probably give you 7 or 8 kids that scored in double figures on different nights. So, that's the beauty of this team. If you try to stop 1 or 2, then hopefully the other 2 will step up, or 3 or 4 will step up. And I think that's what this team has done.
Coach, you mentioned Rosie Westerbeck there, and she's your leading scorer, but what other values does she bring to the Lady Wildcats on the court?
I think more than anything, and I think that's what she takes pride in, is just the fact she wants to be a good teammate. She wants to be. It has nothing to do with basketball, which was what helps make our team better. She's just a nice person who loves the game, and she wants to make everybody else better on the team. Now, in terms of basketball, she can hit the 3, she can penetrate, she gets a lot of stickbacks. She's one of our best finishers inside. She's the kid that I want to have the ball at the end of the game, because she's shooting over 80% from the free throw line. So she does a lot of things for the team. But I think she'll tell you that mostly she just she wants to be a team player, and she wants to help keep the team together.
Coach, one of your key players this year is Courtney Pranger. And we didn't know anything about Courtney before the season started, and that's because she was just an 8th grader last year, meaning she's a freshman that has had a huge impact on your team this year. Explain how Courtney has grown into the varsity level and the impact that she has had on your team.
Well, that's been probably one of the most enjoyable things to watch this season for me, is to watch how she's matured from, that's a huge jump to go from 8th grade to varsity ball, especially with, like I said, the schedule we have. You know, we play Lormy, we play Arlington, we play Bath, Wapak, just the different teams we play. But for her to just step in, and you can just see her confidence has been growing every game. She wants the ball. She wants to do something with the ball when she gets it. She's not afraid to go in there and bang. I watched her last year as an 8th grader, and sometimes when she got shoved around a little bit, that bothered her. Well, that doesn't bother her anymore. And so it's just fun seeing how she's grown and matured as a player.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about, you've got the tournament coming up here, but you got a little bit of a break. You actually have a 10-day break before your tournament game starts on, I think February 20th, something like that. But what are you doing with this time off here, and how are you staying sharp? Well,
we didn't take the bye last year, and the girls decided that they didn't want to do anything that we did last year. so I went with that. But the other reason I did it is because I just have that much faith in my JV team, who's obviously going to stay around and practice with us. And they ended up 19-1, and they have size, and they have shooters, and they have defenders, and I just have tons of faith in them that they're going to come in every day and work our little butts off and make it hard for us. And they'll be the scout team. Coach Wiss and Duff and Darren do a great job of making them or helping them do what the opponent's going to do and, act as the scout team. So we have a few nagging injuries and things like that too. And so I think this is just a good time for us to lick our wounds and get healthy. And I'm sure we'll be ready.
All right, Coach, and one more question. We'll let you go, but I know you've been doing this a long time. I think something like 27 years. How long do you think you can continue at this? You going to keep going after this season?
It is 27 in Minster and 6 more in Cincinnati. Actually, 9 more in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
I guess I started when I was 6, maybe, huh? Yeah, right. I don't know. It's just fun. Like I said, it's fun getting in the gym. It's fun watching kids work hard. It's fun pushing them to become better. And it's just fun watching them make plays and succeed. And that's the main thing, is just watching them grow and mature. Watching them from a freshman all the way up to senior, and how they've grown and taken on leadership and things like that. So who knows? Who knows? When
Coach,
the season's over, I'll reflect.
Listen, Coach, congratulations on another great year this year. Wish your Lady Wildcats best of luck down the tournament trail. And from Fish Report, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. All right, that was the head coach of the Minster Wildcats, Nann Stechschulte. And Ken, it was about a year ago this time where she actually got her 500th victory last year in February. And I think she was only the 19th girls coach in Ohio to do that, so pretty remarkable. Also, she mentioned that Arlington game. They picked up a win over Arlington, and they were ranked number one at the time. So pretty remarkable season. Yeah,
they have. And like she said, they play a great non-league schedule. Like she said, they got all the MAC schools, and then you throw in Arlington and Lima Bath and Fort Loramie. In Wapak, they schedule it tough over there, and it pays dividends for them.
Sure does. All right, one more thing to get to tonight, and that is that poll question where the Minster Wildcats were part of that question. Why don't you read the question again, Ken, and TK and Heavy D can check on the results.
Question is for our viewers tonight: which MAC basketball program has had the biggest positive surprise this season? Which MAC basketball program has been the biggest positive surprise? Is it the Minster girls, the New Bremen girls, the Versailles boys, or the St. Henry boys? These guys have all had great seasons this year, all 4 teams there. And our viewers out there, TK, who's been the biggest surprise?
Well, for our voters tonight, St. Henry gets 17%, Minster girls 33%, New Bremen girls get 50% of the vote from our listeners as the surprise team for the year.
Well, I can't argue with our listeners, Craig. When I look at the MAC standings this year and I see the New Bremen girls sitting at 16-5, that's a phenomenal season. 6-2 in the MAC. Great year by the coach over there, and they've done a nice job.
Yeah, and Brain, we talked about them a little bit this season, and that possibly could be a matchup Minster's going to have down the road if everything works out. It could be New Bremen and Minster playing each other there in the tournament.
Yep, those two teams, they know each other very well for more reasons than just one.
You're right. You're right. That's all the more we'll say on that. And do want to say special thanks to our guest tonight, Coach Stechschulte, for joining us on the show. So thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew will be back again next week talking some tournament basketball, I'm sure. But until then, have a great rest of the week and good night.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report.